Hey everyone, good evening. This is Jason,
Scott?
and we are here to chat about Drop Drive a little bit more. As always, if folks listening in could just ping us, let us know that the audio is coming through okay. That would be awesome. In the meantime, this is the first time we've had to get in front of everyone since the campaign ended. Is that right, Scott? I think we wanted to do like a celebratory live stream that weekend, but it just didn't work out. I'm remembering that
Yeah,
right?
no, it was super
Yeah.
busy at the end.
Yes. But obviously, we ended with a bang. We are thrilled with the outcome. We have a lot of work to do. Won't lie, we enjoyed a few nights off, where we just slept. That's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a killer ride and so much great stuff. We got a bunch of cool things tonight. The meat of tonight is going to be going through the To Boldly Go anomaly and all the submissions that came in from our community. We'll also go through two or three new submissions that came in for the previous anomaly. Some people had gotten some submissions in late, so we'll review those real quick as well. But before that, we actually have some 3D printed prototypes in that I can show you, and I want to talk about one in particular, which is the coins. So we have some space coins, which we'll show you and talk about. But first, I want to talk about this one. Show you this one because this one will be quicker. These are 3D printed death dodecahedrons. Now, the final version is going to be more silver. This is like a dark gray. Where's the weapon? There's the weapon. Now you can see it there. So, really cool to have a physical version of this for the first time. The final version is going to be more silver, like it should be. This was printed with some dark gray material, even though I asked them to make it silver. But that's just the way it works sometimes. So really, really cool. You can see the detail is coming out even in plastic, in this 3D printed plastic, which normally you can't really make out the details that well. But this came out really nice. So Scott and I have a bunch of these, and we're going to be play testing a bunch of anomalies. Obviously, that one, the Death Dodecahedron, but we'll use the pieces for other anomalies that we're play testing as well. So that's exciting.
Oh, yeah, it's always more fun with good bits.
Well, especially custom ones, 3D custom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and of course this will be in metal. My version's plastic, and same thing with the coins. These are plastic, but the final ones will be metal. All right, and thank you, Timmy, for confirming the audio, and good to have you with us from Spain. I don't know what country you're in at the moment, but I know you're from Spain, so it's pretty late for you. So thanks for jumping onto our live stream. Okay, so this is a bag of space coins. This is 48 in this bag. So these are the right size, at least the current right size that we're thinking. And so this is the amount of space that it would take. Now this would take up maybe, I don't know, a quarter of one of our cube boxes at the moment. That's the approximate size of. That's a lot of metal. that's a hefty bag of metal. These are plastic again, but they would be. So first, let me give you some close-ups, and then I want to talk about these a little bit with Scott and with you all. So that's the one coin, and you can see how chunky it is there if I hold it sideways. My thumb's in the way, but it came out, again, the 3D printed versions of these, the plastic versions, came out really nice. They're really satisfying to hold and pick up from the super easy to pick up because of their thickness. That's the one, and then we have the 5, which is the blue one. And sorry about the shadows with my thumbs. There we go. I can make my fingers a little better. And same thing, kind of from all different angles. But it has that nice shape to it, which we love. Very unique shape. And then the 25 is the yellow version. And there's the 25. All right, so The idea is that these pieces would be poured in metal and then anodized, is what it's called, to get the color. It would, in metal, they would look a little darker, the anodization. I actually have some examples here of a different game I'll show you in a second. So the anodizing process would make the metal look like a darker green, blue, and yellow. More like an orange, probably. And then there would also be a wash effect, just like we did with all of our metal cubes. The dragon, the flame demon, the dragon flagon for Tavern Tales, all of those have that that black wash effect, which what it does, it's like a very thin paint, but what it does is it seeps into all the cracks and crevices and really brings out the detail of the mold. And these would have the same thing. So those numbers where it says 1, 5, 25, those would all pop really, really well. Okay, so let me ask a couple questions. And you don't have to answer now, but if you want to think on it. So again, these are the pieces. And these are the size of these. This is basically 1 inch long and half an inch tall. Now, to put that in perspective with other games, there's a bunch of popular games with metal coins out there, but one of the ones in the science fiction genre that I happen to love a lot is called Xia, or Ja, I think some people pronounce it, Ja, Xia. And they have these iconic triangular metal coins. Now, these are just about 1 inch in all directions. It's a triangle, so it's 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. So it's approximately the same length of this one, ours. The difference is this one, the Xia ones are much taller because it's a full triangle. But look, when I turn them sideways, look how thin the Xia ones are compared to ours. Now, why am I raising this? People refer to these Xia ones as really good. And I got 6 of them in my hand here. Actually, there are 3 different colors. That's a blue one, anodized. And this is like an orange one anodized. And then the first one was just straight silver. They feel good in your hand. They have a nice weight to them. They're easy to pick up because they are like beveled a little bit. They have a little thickness to them, but they're super thin compared to ours. And here's my question for you, Scott, and for everyone else that's listening. And that is, are these too thick? Now, we could do a couple things. We could leave them like this, and these are unique. Holy cow, these will be very unique, awesome metal pieces. We could make them a little thinner just to be less bulky, less heavy. I mean, these will probably have a fair amount of weight to them. We could also make them thinner and then possibly bigger. I don't know if any of that's necessary, though. So this is what I just got these in today. Scott, you haven't even seen them yet. Now you're seeing them for the first time. I have mixed feelings. What I know is playing with these plastic ones on the table is awesome. I love these. And I presume I would only love them in metal that much more. But what are your immediate gut reactions, Scott?
It feels different to me, and I think that's sort of part of what you're responding to. But at the same time, I have to say I tend to like stuff that has a little bit more thickness, just in games that much easier to pick up and handle. So I have no problem with things being unique. I think it's kind of neat.
So they're 1 inch long, they're half an inch tall, and how thick at the thickest part it is. That's what I thought. It's a 1/4 inch thick. A 1/4 inch. I mean, that's heft.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone else,
I think it looks pretty neat. But
yeah.
It would be
and
interesting
they
to see.
stack, which is nice. But they can actually stand upright on the table. You could actually stand them upright in a row. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you can't
That's
do
pretty
that with
cool.
most. You can stand them up on end. Not that you would ever have a reason to do that, but that they have the thickness to do that. Yeah. Well, if anyone watching has thoughts on, is it too thick? Would it be better if they were bigger, length and width, but a little thinner, in that way? Because the cost goes through the roof when you have super thick stuff, and then you go bigger, like it's exponentially more. But we can optimize it in a couple ways, or leave them as is. All I can say is these are awesome, and I can't wait to play with them.
Yeah, they look very
All
cool.
right. Well, let's see what's next. Coming up, we have PAX Unplugged in December. I'll be there with a couple volunteers. Um, Scott might be able to join
Yep.
us. In fact, that would be
I'm
awesome.
hoping to be. I'm hoping to be.
Um, be great to just get back. Oh, and we will have. Oh shoot! Oh my God! I just realized I was saying. Well, I'll have the new inventory from Drop Too Deep. I should. I should have all that new inventory, but I can't ship it yet because for the same reason that the backers in the United States don't have them yet. They're still at the docks in Los Angeles. I need to get that inventory to Indianapolis,
Yeah.
but it should happen in time. I mean, that's a month from now, so shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, it'll be great to
I'm
show
hoping.
everything off. That'll be the end of the year for us. The last con. I mean, I said 6 months ago, if even one convention happens, I'll be happy this fall. We had Essen, we had Gen Con, and now we got PAX Unplugged. Those are the three biggies. So I am stoked.
Yeah,
Stoked. And then
it's
next
awesome.
year, hopefully, continues. All goes well. We just keep riding it out. All right. So the main attraction for tonight is going to be more anomalies. Anything?
Yeah. No, let's. And you're gonna start with some
Yeah. So
wrap
we
up of the
went
last
through on
one.
the previous live stream, which was just before the end of the campaign. We went through, what do we call it? Expansive space. It covers three different universes. Covers the Expanse, Doctor Who, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So now we're going to go back and look at three new submissions that came in at the bottom of that really quick, and then we'll get on to the Star Trek ones. There is some comments really quick about the the coins. So 2/3 or half thickness could work too, meaning half as thick as the ones that are here. Just because functionally they're not dropped. That's true. These are not dropped. Although, people tend to throw the metal coins
It
around.
could be.
That's common.
Who knows?
Or not making a technical difference from the distance, I would say to thin it. So Timmy is considering to thin it a little bit. The lighter the better for transport. That is true. Yep, the metal has weight, and the weight does impact shipping. That is true. But feeling it physically might be nice. Feels thicker than it felt on the Kickstarter pictures. Actually, Timmy, you're not alone. A couple people on our Discord server said that earlier today as well. When I showed the pictures of the plastic one, they said, "Whoa, that looks way thicker than I thought," just from looking at the renders on the page. Although it's the same 3D model. It's
It
just
should be the same, but it's
Yeah,
always different when
exactly.
you see something in person.
all right. Well, yeah, we'll continue to think on all that. We'll continue. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the screen now. We gonna share with the web browser. Okay, here we go. So again, these are a couple last ones for the Expanse, Hitchhikers, and Doctor Who. So Greg Whitehead here had a few thoughts for Hitchhikers. Now this was interesting. So he talks about how in the story of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, ships can pick up hitchhikers automatically, wanted or not. And so he had this idea where when you pass by a planet within a range, you could pick up a card, see if you got an unwanted hitchhiker. Now you have a forced delivery requirement. You have to deliver them to a particular destination, but maybe a higher bonus for hitchhiker delivery. Anyway, just kind of playing with that whole, sometimes maybe something happens to your ship, you get a hitchhiker and you didn't even necessarily plan on it, and now you have to go somewhere for it. That's very interesting. Hitchhikers could include dolphins, intelligent mice, giant whales, sentient potted plant, among other things. Of course, because Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is wacky fun.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, it is a love of mine. Scott, I know it's a love of yours.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
it's always been a disappointment my entire life watching all the different versions of movies or shows that they've tried to create. Douglas Adams does not translate to the screen very well at all. I think the spirit is in his writing, and I think it's very difficult to convert
Yeah.
that to the screen. So if all people have to go on is the movie or some of the shows that came out from it, just none of them nailed it for me.
No, no. Which isn't to say somebody
Agreed.
couldn't do it in the future somehow. But it's tough. I
All right.
agree. Yeah.
And then again, ship upgrade, Heart of Gold, Infinite Probability Drive. There were a bunch of those examples above. Silver Lightning. So this was neat. Scott, you and I did talk about this, but I think it was after our last live stream.
Hmm.
This is a really, really cool idea. So when the anomaly is discovered, you drop a whale over the sun. So there's a whale mini of some kind. And then when players
Which is
yeah,
awesome
when players
already.
encounter the whale, they draw a card from a new deck of cards called Deep Thoughts, and they would have questions. We'd have to figure out how to create these questions so that they're kind of like universally applicable. But how many links are between the blue and green planet? Meaning, guess how many of our nav tool links it would take to get from the blue planet to the green planet. Um, how many links between your ship and the sun? How many upgrades does the player to your left have on their ship? Now, what happens is that they would immediately cover it so that you can't quickly count, but it's trying to figure out like how conscious are you about what's going on around you, and how good are you at estimating space on the board, and maybe there's some other things like this. I thought this was great. You thought this was great.
Yes, and when he put it out, which he didn't submit it right away, he said like maybe this is just stupid, and I know I totally disagree. I think it's kind of brilliant, and we encouraged him to submit it for sure. I actually, it is one of the unique aspects of these kind of drop games that you get this really kind of concrete space that's been developed, that's been put in front of you, but unlike a board, the exact dimensions of it aren't exactly clear at first. And I've actually toyed around from time to time of creating some game that was a drop game that asked you to do this type of stuff. Kind of something like deduction would go kind of hand in hand with this because you have to make kind of estimates, visual
Yeah.
estimates. So I think it's kind of brilliant to bring into this, and I love how kind of goofy it seems to go really well, this estimating distance and stuff with kind of this goofy big questions idea. So I think it's really
Oh,
neat.
I was just thinking there could be one. Guess how many credits are in the player to your right's pile? You got this pile of
Yep.
cardboard chits
Oh
or,
yeah,
or
yeah.
metal components now, and they're all just piled in a big pile.
Yep.
Like, guess how much is there?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Oh yeah, just
It's really fun.
really wacky fun. That's from our that's Silver Lightning. So he was the contest winner. He's the guy that designed Trials and Tools for us, in which many people are now receiving in their pledge.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, and then he had one more, and basically this was a like that. There's factions, and based on the number of players, players are secretly assigned a faction. You're either yellow, blue, or white, and essentially these proto molecules. I think this goes back to the Expanse, right? That was the Expanse that had the proto
Yep.
molecules. I wasn't
Hmm.
as familiar with it, but you got these protomolecule canisters dropped over the sun, and through the course of going to those canisters, picking them up, and investigating the opposite side, you see here each time a player lands on a yellow or green planet, yellow faction gains a point. Blue or pink planet, the blue faction
Mm.
gains a point. White planet, you can choose.
Yeah.
When you defeat a pirate, you add a point to one of the factions or the other. I'm not going through all that. He has a lot of details in here, but the canisters can be picked
Yep. Yep.
up
Yep. Yep.
as any other resource, but you can't have more than
Hmm.
one. They can be sold. They could cause corruption, and now if you roll a one, you have to redrop your ship. There's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
a lot of
stuff
bits
to
in
this,
there.
but I think this idea of factions and warring planets had come up earlier as well, and it's just another
Hmm.
version of that.
Yeah, although a little more fleshed out. The concept that you break the players up into specific factions, and that really particular actions in the game, like landing at particular planets, would be adjusting central track. Um, I think of things like Seven Wonders Duel or something, or that
Yes.
military track. You're like moving back and forth, and maybe it causes certain swings in the game. Something like that could be a lot of fun. I don't know, you know, it could be almost too big an idea for an anomaly, possibly. Although we're putting some big ideas in these for sure.
All right, and then lastly, Rick offered up one last one: the improbability drive. Take all upgrades in play, except for the improbability drive. Shuffle them all back into the deck, then redeal out the same number to every player so they have new ship upgrades. I guess a different way to do this, simpler rather than getting the deck involved,
Mm.
is just, and maybe this is what he meant, in fact. Take all the upgrades that all players have, shuffle them, and then just
Right.
deal out the same number to every
Yeah.
player. So they all get divvied up
Yep.
in
Yep.
different
Yep. Yep.
ways. And then reconcile your cargo. Yeah, that's improbability. All right.
You could also do a more minor one. Would be something like when it's engaged, the person who engages it picks a card type. Like, let's say they do pick upgrades, and each player has to put one of their
Mm.
upgrades in a pile that gets shuffled and redistributed.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
not the whole ship, but it still has some of that fun. Your ship might
Yep.
suddenly change.
Yep. Agreed. And then you could even, because they're universal the way they work, you could even say every player chooses a card, a explore card, and then just
Yep,
deal
yep,
them out.
yep,
You might have had an upgrade, now you got a passenger.
yep, 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 yep. But it's also might work out in people's favor. They all get a chance to probably offload the thing they think is least helpful to them.
Yeah.
Might be more helpful to somebody else.
Cool. So as
Of course, another version would just be to everyone passes one to
yeah,
the
yeah,
left or something.
absolutely.
Hmm.
As always, some really interesting creative ideas. Now let's go on to.
Yeah, there's some good ones at the finish.
So this is the To Boldly Go. This was our homage to Star Trek, of course. And this is our final community-driven anomaly, and we're gonna go through these now. And of course, we begin with
Sounds
red
good.
shirts. What were you gonna say, Scott?
No, I said sounds good. Of course, I'll say right from the start. Star Trek: The Next Generation was my like total childhood touchstone, and I've kept up with various bits to different degrees since, but that's my absolute core that I'll come to this with.
I probably am the same as you. I remember my older brother kind of forced me to watch the older Star Treks when I was younger.
I saw
I didn't
some, yeah,
dislike
scattered.
them, but I wasn't as into them as he was. Then, of course, Next
Yeah,
Gen came around, and I was all in. And then
yeah,
since
yeah.
grew a deeper appreciation for the originals. And I have seen every single episode slash movie that there is for Star Trek. Every single one, including the cartoons and other offshoots.
Wow.
So yeah, definitely up my alley. All right. So
Oh
red
yeah.
shirts of doom. You pick up red shirts that are like floating in space. They're like astronauts stranded in space, which is like your original idea for captains, like about 2 years
Yep.
ago when you first
Yep.
showed this game to me.
Yep.
You pick them up as cargo, and then you roll a die at the beginning of each turn to determine their fate. They could they could explode into credits. They could accidentally get sucked into space with your cargo. They could implode your
Yeah.
drop drive core. They could activate it and force you to redrop. Um, Basically, just wackiness that could come from this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a fun. I mean, this idea that you pick up some kind of hapless crew member that is very erratic. You don't know exactly how they're going to behave on your ship. And I guess would it be something like every turn, if they're on your ship, you can roll them or something and find out what they do, which would be kind of funny if some of them were bad. uh, you could maybe choose just like any other cargo to like jettison them back out into space.
It
That'd
could
be
be
kind of
that
funny.
they're well. I mean, this is just us thinking of our own design ideas now, but it could be that the red shirts are there to help, and you can tap them essentially to help with whatever you're trying to do. Like maybe they add a credit to each
Mm.
one of your asteroid sales or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you use them,
Right.
you then roll to see what their fate is. Do they just die in the process or cause some other havoc on your ship or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
All right.
That's
Josh
kind of fun.
continues. Star Tech. Oh yeah, so just a bunch of different little tech ideas. Cloaking
Yeah.
device. Discard to avoid a combat. Phaser set to kill. Discard to remove a passenger from another player's ship. It's kind of gruesome and maybe a little counter to the ideals of Star Trek, but it certainly happened in plenty of episodes. Beam me up transporter. Discard to instantly deliver one passenger no matter where their planet is.
I
Yep,
like that.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Captain's chair. Discard to force your opponent into peaceful mode during a captain encounter. Oh, okay. Discard to force someone into peaceful mode. Now, there's been other thoughts where someone's like, a prediction or something, and the next captain encounter they have to do peaceful. But if they know that, then they would never you
Right.
can plan accordingly.
Right.
This idea that it's a one-time thing, you have to choose when to do it, that makes that viable.
Yeah, that could work. Hmm.
I like that.
And really, what we're talking about with all these ideas, and there's a lot of good ones here. He's going into the territory of one-time use upgrades or something along those lines, which isn't territory we've gotten into, but as you can see here, it's really rich territory if we ever do go
Yep.
there, for sure.
Well, and that may have been what he meant by this, like Star Tech. That it's kind of
Yep.
like maybe it's even a new type of card. It's just tech, and maybe it is
Yes.
one-time use.
Yeah. Yeah. Tech.
Federation badge to boldly go where no person's gone before. Discard to warp to an anomaly.
I like that idea. We don't actually have there's no direct anomaly trigger like
that's true.
this, so that's a neat one.
Okay. Omnipotent. Oh, by the way, Timmy said the the red shirts exploding into credits idea sounds more like a Q type effect. Would totally agree. That would be more.
Which is actually where we are here,
Yes.
I think. With as soon as I saw this M, I immediately
Yep.
thought Q.
Being able to manipulate space and time, who calls themselves M. Every time you interact with an anomaly, you either roll or spin to see what M has done. Maybe cause the planets to be redropped for new positions, move players around the sun, cause effects of other anomalies. Very cool.
It would be really fun to have a Q entity, some kind of omnipotent, but untrustworthy
Yep.
presence. I think could be fun.
Which, by the way, when is Picard season 2 coming out? Because it's going to be all about Q. I can't wait.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's going to be all about Q.
I mean, I don't know if it's all about Q, but Q is clearly in all the teasers, so I presume it'll be heavily about Q.
Oh, wow. I need to watch that.
All right, Chris Wraith. Tribble! Yes!
Yeah, this had to come out
I
at
love
some
it.
point.
Waves
right?
of small aliens threaten to overwhelm the system. Small alien ships. Maybe the Tribbles are invading the Explore deck. You need to explore at least 5 times in a single turn to get rid of them. Else all discovered Tribbles just get put back into the Explore deck. This is an awesome idea. It's so annoying. And that's what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would be you just pack the Explorer deck full of these Tribble cards.
Basically, it could be that, and they just take up
Yeah.
space.
Now, so that could work. I was thinking as soon as I read that, another way they could work is there could be little Tribbles that get dropped into the game, and they could go target the nearest player's ships, and they could block the spaces in your
Absolutely.
hold until you get rid of them, and that could work
You bet.
really, really nicely.
You
Actually,
bet.
I think.
Yeah, there's so much that you could do. You could even drop them on different planets, and they're on the planet tiles, and the first player who goes to that planet, or the next player that goes there, has to take a Tribble into their cargo, or has to take a Tribble instead of a Explore card or something.
Yeah, and they'd have to have some rule you couldn't jettison them the typical way.
Which
maybe
was the case. They couldn't.
Right. But maybe you can get them cleaned out at a
Yeah.
planet or something. I don't know. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
there. We need tribbles. Tribbles
yeah, we kind of
have to
do.
make it in somehow. Galactic
Yeah.
empires divide the system in areas. Roll a die to determine peace or war state. Depending on the state, trade may be possible. In war, you may be able to fight for one side or do some smuggling for the other. Could be Klingon Empire is very warlike, wants to attack the rest with their cloaked ships. Neat.
Yeah, I love the idea actually, for something in the future too, about just like, even if you just divided the board in half
Yep.
suddenly, and suddenly the universe had split into two sides. I think that could be really fun to work with.
I like it. All right, Ruben. Fog, which makes the game area smaller, and this every round a little bit more, so it keeps encroaching in. Or warp speed, where you can maximize your movement speed. Beaming abilities. All right. Well, so Fog, I wonder if Ruben is getting at that episode of Next Gen. Remember where the universe was encroaching in, and ultimately the universe became less than the size of the whole Enterprise? And I think
Phew.
Crusher, in the end, figured out the puzzle and how to escape it and go back to normal space time. But it was like the
Yeah,
entire
jeez.
universe
I don't
was
have a clear memory of
collapsing
that
in.
one.
I think it was
Mm-hmm.
because she was in
Mm-hmm.
like a fake universe. But I wonder if that's what that idea
Hmm.
is. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh man, it's so nice just recollecting all these episodes. All right, Thomas, definitely another frequent submitter here. First directive. At activation of the anomaly, all players are moved to a parallel universe where all planets have a pre-drop drive culture.
Oh, that's a fun
This means
idea.
trading is denied and there are no pirates, only exploration. Interesting. So
Hmm.
no trading, meaning no selling of asteroids. All right. To enable trading and pirates, first contact cards are added to the exploration deck. So you got to explore and find all these first contact cards. Then these certain quests would open up the culture of the planet to the Federation. The quest could be make the highest trade in row at another planet. Upgrade your ship with a new part to impress them.
Well, this is a whole other big idea, like quests, which we don't really have in the
Yep.
game now. Um, it's also this is probably the biggest idea of all the ideas. This has like a whole
Yep.
storyline to it, so it's kind of on that really large level.
Fight with another player, name the target destination, drop to it. All right, and then performing first contact is highly rewarded with credits. Additional quest
Mm.
cards would give credits such as he is dead, Jim. Give a red asteroid to this lava monster. Not quite sure where the lava monster is, but okay. Buy
Mm.
out a complete row on a planet. Okay. Rules of acquisition. I like the idea of quests.
It's cool.
That's a neat idea.
There's a lot of good ideas.
Lifelong and prosper. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. Rick. Not big on Star Trek. Rick, come on. But I haven't seen these ideas in other franchises.
All
They
right.
haven't come up in from Phase Shift yet, so think about them for any anomaly. Black hole. Rick, it's true. We haven't introduced a black hole officially. Certainly, Scott has
Oh
thought
yeah,
of it
many
times.
times. We talked about it many times.
And maybe this is just an opportunity for a mini expansion sometime down the road. I don't know why it didn't make our initial cut, but I mean we have what 17, 18 total anomalies at this point.
Yeah, it's just because of the number. At some point, it got shaved off the list.
But sucking everything within range towards itself, of course. Could even have it drift
Yep.
through space at a rate of X, 3 or whatever. Once something's sucked up, it's removed from the game. Then all planets, once the sun is sucked up, you can redrop the universe, make a new one. That actually is similar to the Fifth Element idea that I think we were zeroing in on, where once the Mr. Shadow makes its way to its destination, it could result in basically a wipe and a rebuild of the system.
Yeah, we were talking about that as opposed to simply ending the game or everyone loses, sort of a massive restart. Mhm.
Yep. As above, but use the sun in full game range. Oh, okay. You can redrop the universe. Okay. Nanobots, good or evil. Space fog. Uncharted area rocket drive movement is reduced around all planets until a player has visited it.
Hmm.
Neat.
Interesting
Localized
idea.
effect on the board. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Greg again. Let's see. Maybe similar but different. Transporter. Allow interaction with planets without having to reach the planet. Maybe allow a planet action if you're within 1 to 3 drop legs. I mean, that's a great just ship upgrade. Yeah, I mean it could be do the landing procedure for a planet within X distance.
Yeah, if it was just a part of the landing phase, that might be kind of neat, you know.
Maybe not
Not
the whole
not the
thing.
whole thing, but maybe you could deliver salvage at range. Or maybe you can, yeah, deliver a passenger at range. Could
Yep.
be interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's pick one of the steps.
Yep. Yeah.
Tribbles. Oh, what do we got for tribbles? If you pick up an item from space, there may be a tribble. Each turn, the tribble will multiply or add a new item that will eventually fill up your hole and push other items out. Yep.
There it is again.
Head to the nearest planet or other player and beam them over. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be really good. Just by the way, I love the idea of other things that might happen when your ships interact. Obviously, we've got the captain card encounters now, which is
Yep.
something. But there could be other things that happen when your ships encounter each other. So I kind of love that idea, sort of like playing tag with the tribbles and offloading
That's great.
them.
I
That's
do. I
fun.
do like the idea of the simplicity of it. It messes up your plans in space, but if you go to a planet or something, that's your way to just clear them out, just so it doesn't overtake the entire
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
But the idea of
Oh
going to
yeah,
another
no.
player,
It sounds fun for
yeah.
like 1 or 2 turns, and then
Oh,
it's
this
not
is
fun
cool.
anymore.
Let's see. Or the planet can. Now it's the other player's problem. I really like that. Or the planet can no longer be traded with
That
because
is
they're
good.
overrun by triples. So I guess that could happen too. Saucer section.
Yeah,
First time someone's brought up saucer separation, maybe.
Oh
Split
yeah,
ship into
yeah.
multiple actions in different directions for a short while. Ooh.
That's a
I mean, we could
different
literally
idea.
make another little hexagonal ship piece that just represents the saucer, and now you split off.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Who's this? Greg. Good job, Greg. I mean, nice job to everyone, but
Nice
there's
job.
some really cool stuff in there. All right, Silver, what do we got? Not really linked to Star Trek or any science fiction. Okay. Oh, in general. Bounty Hunters Cantina. Jeez. Bounty Deck.
Hmm.
I mean, Silver definitely likes creating, like, mini games. More fully fleshed out mini games.
Yep.
When revealed, swap the anomaly with the cantina. When other players land at the cantina, they draw 2 cards from the bounty deck. Keep one, discard the other. Bounties are missions. No limit to the number of bounties you can have, but any bounty not cleared makes you lose credits. That makes sense for bounties. Examples: give me fuel, give me fire. Love it. Own 3 fuel in your cargo. So I think that means by the end of the game. Oh no, probably just at some point. Instant. And then
No,
you
it'd
turn
probably
into
be
bounty.
instant. Yeah.
No frontier.
Yep,
Visit all
yep.
5 planets. Admiral Kidd's job. Defeat 3 pirates.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Rainbow Unicorn. Have 5 asteroid types in your cargo. These are great.
Well, once again, we've got this concept
Yeah.
really of goal cards. These are awesome ideas for them for sure. And I think this is territory. I mean, we've talked about this in some. I mean, a question that's come up a bunch from people over the course of the campaign is, of course, like solo and co-op. This type of stuff would definitely, I think, be the type of stuff we'd want in something like that. But it can make its way into the regular game too, and yeah, there's a lot of potential here.
I'm blue. This must be an episode I'm not remembering. I'm blue.
Well, that's the song. Daba,
Oh, daba
Tiger
daba dee da
Moccasin.
da ba da. That one. Okay. Land on a blue
Yeah,
planet
yeah,
with 2 or more blue specimens in your slots. Got it. Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Boring day. Don't drop drive. Land somewhere.
good stuff.
Or encounter or pick up anything in one turn. No, that basically means lose your turn. No one likes that. Although it is called a boring day.
Yeah,
Follow the yellow brick road. Travel
a
from the
boring
blue
day.
to the yellow planet without drop driving. These are creative. These are cool. All right, Rick.
Yeah.
Not my original idea. From BB House Road in Kickstarter comments. Oh, so BB must have put it there. All right, so they suggested tiling
Hmm.
cards in space before the Big Bang to form regions. Okay, yes, yes, I remember talking about this on the Kickstarter. I like this idea too. So the theory here is, if you want to create regions, they almost kind of need to be done before the game starts, before you drop everything. Otherwise, you need rules for put a card down and then pick up everything under it and redrop or whatever. But the idea was that there's like maybe they're round cards
Hmm.
and you put them in different areas on the board before you drop everything. Then you drop stuff, and now stuff lands on some of the cards and off some of the cards, and you've created regions that you can now manipulate through the course of different anomalies. So some of these regions in space could be like an ion storm or an asteroid field or hostile space, neutral zones, and just wanted the idea. I like that way of doing that. It makes it a little difficult in terms of when you go and explore an anomaly, how do you then put regions out? But I do like the concept.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he says here.
Yep. I mean, there could be an anomaly that put out cards. I mean, it could almost specifically say they needed to be, or maybe you could place them wherever you wanted, but everything that was underneath it
Yep.
had to get redropped, right? So you could clear
Yeah.
space for them, if you wanted to create regions like this.
You make this into an anomaly by discovering a moving asteroid field or ion storm. Could contain more asteroid resources, but require careful movement and drop drive into it. Rocket drive movement is halved. Right. Rick,
Mhm.
this might not fit as an anomaly here. What about the possibility of an asteroid gun? Could be an ability that all players have, somehow to interact with asteroids in space apart from picking them up.
Yeah, flicking
Oh,
them. Well, we did have a tractor
yep.
beam that was going to flick asteroids at one point. We sort of moved away from a lot of the flicking actions being base actions in the game. Um, but certainly things can be flicked.
Player hit, redrop 2 to 3 items from cargo or lose an upgrade passenger specimen. Redrop pirate ship over the sun, back to its homeworld, place all bounty. Area of hit, redrop it in that area. This could also be used in some way to attack, some other anomalies. Alright, so a little more interaction with the items, flicking, so on. Okay. Rick again, just realized I should have added this. It would require a fuel cost or something to do the asteroid gun flicking.
Right,
Or
sure.
it costs 2 nav movements or
Mhm.
something.
The biggest reason I was thinking about this, why the flicking tractor beam type thing kind of didn't make it into our core. And part of the reason was, I think at one point we decided we didn't want people to have to check all their upgrades for abilities while they were in space. That's just as a little side note. We didn't want people to have to scan all their cards all the time, and possibly forget to do something. But for anomalies and things like that are
Yeah.
perfect places to bring this stuff back in. Or the bobbers
Yes.
back in.
All right, Thomas is responding to himself. Let me just refresh which this one was. Oh, yeah, this was this very thought out one here. So he's adding
Yep.
more quests or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, finally the Borg. I was waiting for that.
Borg Cube can be defeated. We got to read this one through. So Borg Cube can be defeated by 2 to 6 the first time. Oh, a die roll of 2 to 6.
Okay. Yeah, but it gets
Then 3
harder
to
to
6.
defeat each time.
Last
Oh,
time
that's
only a
clever.
6. They
Yeah,
adjust their shields
yeah.
because they adapt. If you lose
Yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah,
lose, one of your cargoes is simulated. If you win, you get 6 credits
yeah.
times the number of your dice. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, that would be a lot of creds. But I love this kind of the idea gets like tougher and tougher because the Borg did do that.
Yep.
They adapted. Um, yeah, that's fun.
I like that. It would have to move around and attack people, and then you're forced to do this roll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Booby trap asteroid. Perform a slingshot maneuver to escape this asteroid. Thank you for mentioning the one thing that I told Scott 2 years ago when he first pitched the game. I said slingshotting around the sun. That's gonna be in the game, and it's not yet in the game.
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool idea and concept. I did play around with it a bit. It's neat to do, um, but in combination with the other things,
no, it's fiddly.
it
I
was a
get
little
it, but
fiddly.
yeah, I think at one point, because originally the rocket drive wasn't plastic tool; it was a string. It was a string drive, and I said, well, you can
Right.
put your ship.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Your ship is next to the sun or a planet or whatever, and you put a string from your ship to the planet. You hold your finger on the string on the planet, and then you move your ship with the other finger, and you're using the string as a
Yeah.
compass,
Right.
and you're slingshotting around. I don't know. It is a little
Yeah.
fitty. I
Absolutely.
totally agree, but I love the idea.
But it could definitely make it in one of these kind of extras ideas for sure.
Name a target asteroid, and then flick your ship to that position. Add a hit, get 5 credits. If you miss, lose 1 asteroid or 5 credits to reduce your ship mass. Got it. Yeah, so he's adding risk to the slingshot maneuver.
Right.
Trouble with Tribble. To stop the reproduction, eject all your asteroids into space. Get 4 credits for each and 8 for a drop fuel.
That's a lot of credits again. But that could be a way to clear tribbles to jettison cargo. There could be some rule like, each cargo you jettison, you could get rid of 1 or 2 of these things.
All right. Well, that is... I love it. There's a lot of good ones in there.
There's a lot of ideas, and I'm kind of fascinated by this one because I think overall we sort of this one is a little bit more in line with I think what I expected from all the contests. There are a ton of just really crazily different ideas, and maybe that just goes hand in hand with how big a universe Star Trek is. Whereas I think, in some ways, even though the concepts are really cool that came out of some of the other anomalies, we talked in some of these last live streams about how instead of like a whole bunch of crazily different ideas for the community to choose from, which this actually I think turned into, like I could easily see a typical contest coming out of this where, we have a top 3 that people vote for or something. But those other ones, like, because I think they were like, again, like the something like Stargate or something like The Fifth Element has one storyline that's so overwhelming, to what it is. That's the thing. It was like everybody was working together to get that storyline out. Whereas here, Star Trek, it's episodic, and I think you just get that crazy variety of ideas, So this was a fun final one for sure. I'm
we chose the order of these intentionally, right? We knew this would be a popular one, and so we wanted this one at the end to kind of finish things off. Ideally, we would have gone through this during the campaign, but we were busy, man. Essen and changing the whole retail box size midstream there, which was another great move. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. So this is the first time we're kind of announcing this. People had asked a lot, what is the packaging going to be for this 8-pack of anomalies? And frankly, we kept saying
Right.
we reserve the right to say we don't know yet. We, that we were working through a lot of
Right.
details to try to figure this out. We are pretty certain at this point that, and this is an awesome answer, that it's going to be another cube box. So the base game,
Yep.
if you recall, is, I know you recall, Scott. For everyone else, is gonna now be in a larger box size. We're taking the cube and we're elongating it by 50%. So that's the front of the ship. If you imagine the artwork is, the front of the ship plus an upgrade, it's going to be this nice size rectangular, I guess, in shape box. That's the base game. Then deluxe upgrade is a cube box that gets kind of added onto the end, and it's the back of the ship from an artwork perspective. And now this Anomaly 8-pack is going to be another cube, because it really is. These, as we've gone through, these are meaty expansion content that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's 8. We just went through everything here that's going to turn into one of 8 anomalies in this box, in this expansion of this 8-pack.
Right.
So we're going to give it a box. It's going to be a cube box, we think. And it's going to house all of these anomalies. And then probably room for all your other anomalies from other mini expansions and promo packs and everything. Kind of put it all in one. We'll see how it works. But that's our thinking.
And the part that we're still discussing is exactly how the anomalies are sort of stored in the box, which will be really cool conversations. I'm sure we'll be sharing with people as they unfold. But this box, the cube box Jason's talking about, will of course have 2 upgrades on each side of the cube. So this will continue. You're really, I mean, if you have all of this stuff, the core game, the anomalies, and the deluxe, like, we're really, really building quite a ship out of the box components now.
Yeah, so that is some of our latest dialogue on that stuff. Much more to come. Basically, Scott and I are in heavy playtesting mode now. And we still have to finalize some of these submissions. So we've now reviewed them all with everyone. Now we need to curate and kind of come up with the best refined rules for, not that they're going to be final yet, but just enough to get us to be able to even play test them. And then let everyone know what the results of that are, and if there's any voting that comes out of it, we'll see. So a lot more to come, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, and just to be even clearer, that it's heavy anomaly testing mostly. It's this whole aspect of the game that you can see even just here in this read through how many wild different directions it can go. So yeah, and the possibility they can be combined with each other. So it'll be an interesting adventure.
Okay, I think we are in good shape for tonight. This rounds out the last of the anomalies. We have, I think, on the campaign page now, there is the formal list of every anomaly, except I might not have added that latest crossover pack one where we added the dark jellies. No, maybe I did. Maybe that is in that long list. So if you go to the anomaly section, I think you see the promo pack ones, the shipping shenanigans ones, the 8-pack, the base game. So there's, I forget what the final number is, 17 or 18, some large number of anomalies. So that's awesome. They're all there, and we'll keep providing more details through the campaign and Kickstarter updates and everything else as we proceed. But thank you all for sticking with us and watching along. Thank you so much for all of these amazing ideas. As with Dungeon Drop, there's too many, and we wish we could put them all in.
Yeah. Yep. And a huge thank you, obviously, just because I haven't said this live, for the campaign itself and all the backers that made it possible.
Huge thanks to everyone. Yeah, nothing else to say. I mean, we're here because of the community, because they like the games that we're making. They like the way we're interacting with everyone and keeping things engaging. That's what we do. and we'll continue to do. I can't even tell you some of the future plans that we have for other games that we might have hinted at, and other games that we haven't even hinted at yet. There's a lot of stuff in the works. We have thus far done only Kickstarter route for our games, but we are probably going to start to take on some projects that would be more straight to retail, and that will afford us the opportunity to kind of increase our pace of getting games into the market, since doing a Kickstarter takes a massive amount of work to organize, coordinate, run the Kickstarter. Whereas some games maybe don't need 32 stretch goals and all the work and stuff such that goes in. So we've got some other
What?
things in the works there, and we'll let people know as soon as we can. But we got a lot of great things planned. So thank you all for being with us.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's going to
Have
be
a
a
good
wrap.
night.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.